Jeanne is climbing this stairway to heaven, but she's here right now. Up in this next part, we have opened up the mic for friends, family, anybody who may have a burning desire to share stories, cry, laugh, toast, cheer, whatever you might feel. We would definitely love to hear from you, and you're here because you love her. After we'll have some live performance too. I just wanted to mention if you didn't see the program or pick one out. If not, you do have them in front, and you got paper if you want to write little notes. Just for the fun of it. But anyway, we do have local musicians, some that play here. Well, they all play here quite a bit. That will be doing 3 songs each. You'll see in the program, and that will be our night. Our tribute, and they all handpicked songs, especially for Jeanne or especially for the occasion. So, anyhow, we love you, and here's the mic for anybody that may want to share. Thank you.
Keith, significant number. I've been in a few of these, and I'm the one who provided the big white dog that you saw with Jake. And I remember the first time that I hadn't had him for a while, and I was running around the dog pound, and I saw this big white beast, and you look at the dog's eyes, and there's an immediate connection. And I told Jeanne about it, and said, you know, I think we finally found a dog that would be great to have. I got to come and look at it, and you know, took it down to the pound. And Jake then, he's a Pyrenees. I don't know if anyone knows the Great Pyrenees. They're about 135. Jake right now was going for about 140. So she looked at him in the pound. He had these big brown eyes. He had a great temperament, and Pyrenees have big smiles. And she said, "Am I going to be able to control him?" I said, "Yeah, he's a gentle beast," which he was. So we got him. First time we took him for a walk, and she realized that I had to jog to keep up with him. We realized that was not going to be the dog she walked. So, you know, in the house, he could be the lover. You see some photographs of him in terms of a very affectionate dog. So at that point in time, I tried worrying about not picking dogs for her, because I realized her idea of a dog when she was a child and would describe it was a hell of a lot smaller than what mine was. The significant memory I have of Jeanne was possessed for life, as you saw it. Unfortunately, the last 7 years, part of it was cut off because, as happens to all of us later on in life, you start getting some chronic problems. And I know she developed osteoarthritis, had to have knee surgery and hip surgery, but and there were some films amongst Northern California on a wide biking trip. It's the only one we took, because after that, physically, she just had difficulty. One thing about Jeanne, she never had self-pity. Even through the trauma with cancer last year, she was always positive. She wasn't at all negative about it. And finally, at the end, when she made the decision, I want no more treatment, she did it very positively in terms of, let me get on with what there is, and let me deal with it with regard to it. So again, my memory of Jeanne has to do with her. Yes for life, her active mind, and her interest in things that she could do, even with limitations.
My name is Cindy, and in 3 days, 7 years ago, I lost my mom to breast cancer. And I was working at home at the time so I could help my dad take care of my mom. And then I decided I needed to go back to work in a salon. So I started working in artistic hair. And I don't know how I became the most lucky manicurist in all of Ogden to end up doing Jeanne's nails, but I did. So every 2 weeks, without fail, she came in and got her nails. And I looked so forward to that. She was always, usually my last client of the day. And she was such a breath of fresh air. And I would look at my book and I'd see her name and I'd go, oh, yay, I'm going to set Jeanne. And when Michelle's husband said that she was, he'd talk about her clothes and she just would poo-pot, you know, she would come in and go, girlfriend, you're looking pretty sexy tonight. She'd go, oh, this whole thing, you know, and she'd always tell me the stories too, and it was really fun. She always talked so highly of all of her daughters and her son-in-law and all her grandchildren and her best friend, and she would tell me about their adventures, and I'd always say, I want to go. She'd say, well, come on. And at the end of our hour together, I always wanted to spend more time with her, but it wasn't possible because she always had her wine club that she was going to. I'm like, darn it. Okay, I'll let you go, you know. And so she, for a long time, I didn't really know what she did for the city. You know, oh, I work for the city. Oh, yeah. Well, finally she opened up and told me what she did. And through her, I got to know about so many businesses in Ogden that I wouldn't have known about otherwise. And I was able to frequent them. And in my capacity as a manicurist, I was able to pass all that information on to lots of people, and then they were able to enjoy it as well. And she talked so highly of mojos. She loved it here. And I didn't even know what it was. I thought, wow, that's awesome. And I love this picture of her. But I loved it when she wore her hair curly and just kind of wild and crazy. Yes. I'd say, oh, I love your hair like that. You do? And I'd say, yes, it just reminds me of the free spirit that you are. And it wasn't very often that we cried when she would come in to get her nails done, but there were a few times that we did. And it was funny because we'd have our Kleenexes and we'd be crying, and of course I couldn't do her nails and cry at the same time, and we'd finish crying and we'd both look up at each other and just start laughing because we'd always have mascara and everything. Anyway, she was just such a good friend, and I just loved her so much, and I just feel so lucky that I got to have her be a part of my life, and that I got to know all of you through her. And I'm really going to miss her.
My name's Pauline, and she was my grandma, and I remember when I was really little, I was at her house, and I guess I was sitting on a bench, and there was like a wasp nest in it, and I got stung really bad by like 7 wasps or something. It was pretty bad. So every year, like every time I saw her, that was like the thing. We were always talking about the bee story, and we'd also talk about my dad and his fashion sense, because at his wedding with my mom, he was wearing core classics. So we would always make jokes about that, and you know, it was just funny to see her laugh and have a good time, and she always brightened up people's day, and I'm really gonna miss her.
Jeanne's office was next to my office. I'm the special event coordinator for Ogden. Jeanne was the big manager for Ogden. And she and I had a pact. Jeanne and I were the same age. And we had a plan that we would retire together. We were going to leave Ogden City in a lurch because she and I, we had the most stressful jobs in the whole city. And we knew it. And we stuck together because we knew that if we didn't have each other, we didn't have anything. We were the two token females in this world of men, and nothing against you men. But Jeanne and I were rebels. We held our own. All of you that know Jeanne know that she could hold her own. I looked to Jeanne for inspiration, and when I was having stress and issues and conflict, all I had to do was walk into Jeanne's office and sit down, and we could sit there and talk, and we could talk for hours. But we didn't because we were both so damn busy. So we would cut our conversation short. But Jeanne did the same thing. She confided in me, and I confided in her. But out of all that business stuff that we had to deal with, out of all that conflict and the things we didn't agree with that were going on, and the things that we had much better ideas for how to resolve situations, because you know women do have better ideas. Leave it to the women. We can solve the problems. And Jeanne and I had that pact. We were both planning on retiring at the end of this year and leaving the city in a lurch because we couldn't do without us. So, following Jeanne and having my heart broken over losing such a good friend, I'm going to retire. I said I've got to live my life, and I just am so heartbroken that she didn't get to live her dreams and enjoy all that she had planned, because we both had great plans. And I was going to come to California and visit her on at that house she was building on her property, and I'm so sad that that won't happen. We love Jeanne, and we will dearly miss her. Thank you.
Stories than I do. I'm Sean and somehow I'm the unlucky fellow that has to sit in the same chair that occupied at the city. Now I know who to blame for her nails, by the way. I wondered how she got anything done with those nails. Yeah, she always outproduced me tenfold. It must be not. The nails aren't the problem. It's what's over here. Jeanne always said she had the last few years had a hard time communicating. I thought, gee, you're just so much better than I am. I can't even communicate half the things that you can tell. She always said she's not in her prime, but to me, I had the pleasure of working with her in her prime. She accomplished so much and did so much. I agree with Carolyn. We like to get together and kind of complain about the bosses at work and some of the crazy things that we ran into. Right? The old boys club that was part of the nonprofit that Jeanne and I helped manage. And thought some of those guys were showing us. I said, how do you deal with this? Oh, I've dealt with a lot worse chauvinism than those guys. And she just had an uncanny ability to reach out and touch people's lives, old and young. And that's just so clear. And I agree with everything you said, Neil, but except for the Nels, I want to be like Jeanne too. I have a daughter that's struggling with cancer right now, and I told her about Jeanne. I said, you're going to like it. You've got a grandma waiting for you. So I'm sorry for your loss as a mom and grandma. I appreciate Jeanne's affected my life. I know she'll help watch my daughter. It was just a year ago that we were sponsoring a nonprofit group at the state capitol, and in February of 2012, and I stepped away to go talk to one of the legislators, and that's kind of what we're doing down there. And I came back, and she said, "Oh, you just missed it." I sneezed, toppled over, and toppled our entire display. And she just told me with such a grin, such a love, and such a smile. I just couldn't help laugh. I would have been humiliated. But just her uncanny ability and that zest, I think you mentioned that too, just that unassuming personality that she had and touched us all. And Carolyn Brier and I were saying that we think that's the model for the Business Information Center. I love that picture of her. And I only knew her for a few years, 3 years we worked together. I loved her. She was beautiful, intelligent, and everybody's talked about tonight. She's one of the good ones, and what a pleasure to have known her in my life. Thank you for all hosting this and to see some of the faces that she talked to me about. It's good to see y'all. Thank you very much.
I just want to say thank you to everybody who's been in her life. For so long, I wanted her to go back to Keffeler because, selfish daughter, I miss her. And I know everybody's not here that she's talked about, but I see why she didn't want to. This was home for her. And I love you guys so much. Thank you. Be a partner like that. Be a person. Very quick. Get out of the couches. I was waiting for the wine to kick in.
I didn't have any, and I'm not very.
I know. You don't have to say anything. Just hearing the different stories. Seeing Carolyn, and I know when I left United Way, Carolyn came on board. But when we talked about the chauvinist bosses in the past and all that, but in our office, we worked together for years. I'm Pam Boydston, I'm pretty sure,
From United Way.
United Way. Just from that time, the stress, and that's just how business is, nonprofit is, but just we learned to laugh together and have fun, and we call ourselves Larry's Angels because that was our boss, but just with that, just thinking about, and then when we got to see Jeanne before she passed, and I just thought, she lived her life with so much grace and died the same way. It's just a beautiful, beautiful story. I'm just glad we got to be a part of that. I too feel cherished. I feel blessed to have known her and been a part of
When she left United Way, when she worked there, she didn't want to ever quit because she wanted to give to people. That's her, just give.
Yes, she did.
want to share, kiddo? No? Okay. Well, it's not too late if anybody wants to say a word or two. I think pretty much everybody is spoken. Wow, what beautiful words. Thank you. Thank you, Sean. Wow. I want to talk to you and meet you personally. There you are. I've known about you for years. You're the one that's going to free her. Oh, Carolyn, let's do it.
So for everybody that's here, I know that Jeanne would have a message, and you can probably all relate to this, because I know Jeanne would say, give them hell. Right? Give them hell.
Heck yeah.
She would.
Yeah. And she did. Anybody else want to give them hell here while we're in that mode? Well, it's been beautiful. I think everybody's touched, and we're so grateful to have had this lady in our life. It's going to take a while to process this one. A long while. Maybe never. But anyhow, I guess we'll just go to the next phase, and we've still got another song to play you, and then while the musicians are setting up, we have Bill Keffeler, who will start out. He's got some beautiful songs that fit perfectly, and Morgan Thomas, who's in the sound booth. He's our sound guy too. Sammy, I think, yes. Wave, Sammy. He's our little 11-year-old phenomenon in Ogden. He was on the cover of Go just a few weeks ago. He's going to play some songs for us. Then we got Chris Cullen, who's amazing, from Cannon Coyotes, and Gordon Green, who knew Jeanne very well back in the early days when we set up this place in 2004. And her and Carolyn were here every weekend, Friday and Saturday. Yep, and we broke this place in before we even opened the doors to the public. So, yeah, she spent a lot of time in here, and I'm very privileged and honored. And she will live on forever here. Her spirit radiates in here. So, I'm very grateful, and I will carry that. And her art will hang, and as it has for 8 years, 9 almost. And we'll be putting up a nice little tribute for her with the paintings, and she'll be here. This will be her shrine, just like it is Jim Morrison's, and many, 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 many others who played wonderful music in here and had magical moments. So anyway, the next phase, we're going to get back and relax. There's plenty of food, there's plenty of drink, and these musicians, they're the cream of the cream in my book. So I hope you'll stick around and listen to them. And now the party continues, Jeanne. This is the part you get to play. And she will, I'm sure. So she would love this. So. Oh, I kept feeling something touching my I thought it was her, actually.
Lily did write something, although I lost the paper, but I remember what it said. And it said, "Dear Grandma, I miss you so very much, and I will always remember you, and I wish God would believe that." Thank you.
I don't see it.
She's got some beautiful grandchildren. Stand up and take a bow. Why? Why not? Because you're so gorgeous and pretty and cute. Oh, that's a good reason. Take a bow. There you go. Yeah, sweetie. All right. Lee, go ahead. We'll let our last song go. Gabby. Thank you. We love you all.
Oh, I see trees